We're now headed into the final section of our advanced logo design and getting back into Adobe Illustrator, where we're just going to be working out our palm tree logo concept ideas. We are now into the home stretch of our advanced logo design, the last section, and this is where we're just going to start kicking things into overdrive, getting things done, and hammering out this design. And we'll do a quick rundown of the idea here. We're going to put in some text here. It's going to reflect, the shadow will reflect over top of it. This here, looking not too bad. I like the basic box design. I'm not opposed to the colors going on. Let's leave that. We can always change things. These are conceptual designs, and nothing is written in stone, so we can do that. We can change things. But right now that's looking pretty good. Maybe we'll focus on some text. So let's add a new layer up here. And that layer, we're just going to break out a text box. And within that text box, we can put tropical vacations, and we'll just make that super huge. With the 72 for now. Actually, that's not even close. With the 172 for now. Too big. 140. A text box. 30. Should be good for now. Blue was originally what I was thinking. As almost a representation of water. But these are things that we can go more in depth in and play around with a little bit. See, now we can maybe stick a 175 in there if we want, or 170. I just want to play around with some text. Of course, I'm not going to be using somebody else's text, but I can use it as inspiration to make my own, which we will. That's not even close to where we're going to be going with that. I don't mind the font though, so maybe no, we'll pick something better. Then we'll trace that out, make it our own, and this is going to be way bigger. Now I've hit on this and this text because that's initially how I envisioned it, with big box text underneath the shadow. So it's just a matter of modifying this in a way that's going to look really, really sharp for us. We're kind of almost there. I like the dark yellow, but maybe some more experimenting. And that's what you're going to want to do. Is I'm using just a Nexa black. I mentioned before I like to carve out my text and make them original for the logos, so I'll probably do that. But I just want to get something that's going to work perfectly here. And I have a one-stroke outline of black and a dark yellow fill. But I just want to play around with that, and then of course we'll explain my results. So a little rundown of what's happened here. Okay, first I've lightened the color of the green of the leaves. I've also brought down the opacity of the shadow, and it lays on top of the text, which is now a brighter yellow. I've included a coconut down here that's fallen out of the tree. So what I've done here is I've used the pen tool and I've carved out what says tropical vacations, and my idea is to make this look like wood, so it'd be kind of like a tiki shack. Now I'll turn this all to wood color, and then I'm going to go in and define it to make it look like wood, and things like the center of the R and the O and everything else I'm going to make black, because I think this is going to be transparent, and we don't want to risk any mix-up when different color of what this logo is on top of shows through. So black would be probably our best bet here. So if I go ding, ding, like that, that's one. And I can make that like so, because they're boards, so I want that boxed out like they are boards, and the boards will contain lines, and we'll just say that board was cut out funny. I don't want them to be perfect, because it would be like if you're nailing boards together. Simple enough. And then once I have those, I'll turn them black, and I will turn the text wood color yellow. And then I'm going to draw some lines and some little details on the wood, and it'll give it the effect we're looking for. Now I take that, this, and this, and this, and as long as I'm clicking on the lines, it should select them. I click outside them, it won't select them. I click on any other line, and I don't want that. But I've contained those. Go over to our fill, black, OK, and it's put those on where we want. Let's isolate it by cutting it, locking the layer, adding a new layer, and just pasting it in place. The reason we're doing that is because it makes it easier when we unlock the layer with all the different objects. Remember, this isn't text anymore. These are objects that I've created and made. Don't much care for using other people's text or paying for text to use unless it's client specific. So we just create it from scratch. If I select all that like so, I can now adjust its fill. I was saying yellow, sort of like yellowish brown. Might have to play around with this. That's almost perfect. That's going to pop for us. And we'll see where we can take that. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our little black objects here, and we're going to group them. And then we're going to take our text objects that we made, and we're going to group them also. And then, because we have the black objects on top of the yellow objects, we want to go over to the Pathfinder tool, and we're going to click on the far right one that says Exclude. Click to create a compound shape and exclude overlapping shape area. We click that button, and it's going to take our objects that we're loving right now, and it's going to cut out the areas for us. So there we have one object with our areas cut out, and it's transparent through. I said I didn't really want to go for the transparency, but I was wrong because it's looking really kind of nice. And then all I need to do here is take it from black and turn it back to the yellowish, brownish, woodish color, like that. And that's looking pretty good. Let's stick these objects behind the shadow. What do we have on this layer? We have nothing on that layer. We can delete it, and we want to stick that underneath the shadow. That's given the effect that we want, putting that shadow over top of the text. Taking that, maybe let's try to make that yellow pop. We need maybe a little brighter. Oof, way too bright. not feeling it. Let's go undo, undo, undo the layer. And at this point, we might want to consider maybe just keeping it like that instead of putting the shadow over top of it, because it looks a little busy if it goes over top. I've said before, and I'll say it again, you can really get a good understanding of what your logo is going to look like when you reduce its size. I like to think that the smaller the logos become, the cooler they look. That's giving you an idea of where it's headed. We can put that there for now. We can also go and close up all our layers and think about putting a box border around everything. Start by creating a new top layer, grabbing the rectangle tool, and we're just going to be using a stroke for now. Putting in our box, we want to round our edges, possibly our corner radius, give it a 30. Our corner radius, give it a 50. Click off and see how that's going to pan out. Not too bad. Add a fill just to see how that's looking. Maybe a light blue. Using a lot of flat colors just right now, because this is where we're going to be getting in depth to just make it the way we want it. So we need to experiment. We need to use this time to experiment with different things, different colors, different styles, maybe considering putting a drop shadow into our text objects. So I've taken the liberty to add some drop shadow to some elements, and I think that's looking quite nice. I'm liking the blue. I'm liking the flat colors. Yeah, that's happening for us. Let's zoom in, and if we go to View, Fit All in Window, that is starting to come out for us, which is nice. Bring that up, 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 and this is where we tweak and we play and experiment to get the best results we can. And I think it's coming along nice. And moving right along, you can see here I've adjusted the shadow, and all I'm doing is scaling it and smushing it together, trying to get it under this, which I have, to just kind of be reflecting out upon the water, this area, and it doesn't take away from our text here. Because that's sort of what we're doing at this point, is we're just arranging, making things the way we want. And that's okay, because that kind of adds another element or another object to the graphic, instead of being behind all of that and maybe being misunderstood. Of, well, hey, what is that? It kind of looks like we're headed out that way. Thinking of what else we can add. Well, yeah, brainstorm. We can add more elements. We can always improve on this. And because of limited time frame right now, and I have been just going off the top of my head here, this is what we're coming up with. But once again, I would spend a lot of time on this graphic, and I'm going to be coming out with all different variations and styles just to get the perfect one. Because I don't think you're ever going to get it perfect the first time around. You'll always get feedback on changes and what other people might want. whoever the client is that's hired you. So you can also expect those things to be happening. I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. Of course, you're going to want to experiment, play around, try out different things, formats, different concepts. But this I hope gives you a good understanding on the advanced part of our logo design, because we used quite a bit of elements to make this. All sorts of things went into it. You can tell by our layers panel. It's extensive. So, hey, once again, I'm Brad Surgison. It was a pleasure, and I hope to talk to you soon with other topics and fun stuff with logo graphic design.
Now let's take part in a recap of our logo that we made. Okay, so here what we have is I made the text, customized it, and just designed it to look like wood paneling, sort of, kind of. The palm tree, we've done all the shading and the line work. We kept all the line work and stroke, and we gave it different colored fills. We have our island here, we have our shadow, and we used opacity on that to make it transparent with our blue background and our 1 pixel 50 pixel rounded edges here. I've just added a drop shadow, and these elements also have drop shadows. Different elements, different objects, all vector-based objects. Just in case we want to go in and take a look really up close, you can see how it pixelates here and everything. That's because we're out of our aspect ratio of 100%, which is no problem. When viewing this, you'd be viewing it at 100% aspect ratio, like that, and wouldn't have to worry about pixelation. Excellent.